1401 in Empires of the Middle Ages, and some exciting stuff has definitely happened. Let's start with... I think the most exciting thing that happened was the Byzantines supported the French, actually gave them enough cash to do diplomacy, and the French managed to get a diplomatic conquest on Ile-de-France. Now, the Italians could have refused that, and doing so, they would have been excommunicated, which meant they would lose the missionary fervor card, which is really kind of a big bonus in victory points. There are still a couple of places they're working on. Toulouse, which they're already most of the way through. One more success there, and they get 5 more points. And then they have Serbia not far away. And they also have the ability to start converting some Eastern Orthodox areas like Macedonia or Greece. So they really do not want to lose that. It's worth more for them to have a France that they have to wipe out. It's not a very powerful France. Although they do have claim to it now. What else? Germans had a leader die airless. They lost Saxony and had to retake it. Byzantines also had a leader die airless. Got another good leader. This time, instead of a 9-5-3, they got a 5-9-3. But it was sufficient to take out the rest of the Turks again and to restore order throughout the empire, other than the Turkish-speaking areas. However, there's kind of weakened, so there's a chance that the Turks could keep coming back. We'll see what happens. I'm trying to favor that with a lot of different cards. Not a lot else happened. 1406. Turks still haven't made it back on the map. Byzantines are growing their wealth as much as they can. French didn't make any real move. They tried ruling, and they're still at the -3. We had another German leader dies airless event. They ended up with a pretty good leader, 293, good for ruling at least. Ended up with a Polish leader who's decent militarily, 513, and was trying to convert Bulgaria, but had some difficulty there. What we did have was an amazing leader show up in England, 559, and he's starting to conquer Saxony. Actually, his parent did most of that so far. 1411. Interesting things happened down in Ile-de-France. The Italians attacked and knocked the French out, and the Byzantines again supported them with $5 in gold. They picked up a tie in Champagne and got Ile-de-France back. The English grabbed Norway and claimed to it, and they also grabbed Saxony, of course. They took Norway from the Poles because there were no Polish cards left. About it. Byzantines grabbed Macedonia. 1416, we had the Turks back in play. They came in through a recognition of claim. Again, I'm giving them special rules. What else? Not a lot, really. The English got a leader dies airless, so now they lost Aquitaine. Otherwise, they held most of that fairly large span of territory they had. They didn't continue into Denmark, which is the one thing dividing their territory. Nobody's supporting the French anymore. After 2 turns of support, $10 or whatever, by the Byzantines, with no real gain except to force the Italians to spend their money conquering France each turn. The Byzantine money just isn't high enough, especially with Turks on the board, so they're holding off on that. 1421 ended the turn. The Byzantines took out the last of the Turks. Biggest event probably was the French turn. They drew an outbreak of heresy, and now there's a big clump of hereticals running through southern France, most of them neutral. You might think, wow, that's a great point boon for the Italians, and it may end up being some because of Provence and Burgundy, but it also reduces their points significantly. They own Burgundy and Toulouse. Germans have gotten Lorraine up to a +3. And that's really about it. 1426, we got about 50 years left, two full terms. Biggest event probably was the English had a leader dies heirless. Their territories in France stayed the same, but they did lose Sweden, Scotland, and Wales. And then the Poles went in and took Scotland, which they already had claim to. Seeing Germany becoming wealthier and wealthier, big piles of money that I can't control. They're saving that up. Probably if they get a good leader or something, they may do something massive to try to change the flow of the game heavily. England also has a good collection of money, nowhere near the same, and they're also in that kind of way behind status in the game. Italy, with their wonderful one-point military leader, is not doing anything to work on the heretics. They've been improving their economic situation primarily. That's about it. The Poles seem to have forgotten about Bulgaria. They really should get back to that. 1431. What do we got? We had a magnate show up down in Valencia. Conquered half of Cordova and mainly drove Valencia back into the negatives. Other than that, not much at all. The Poles converted Bulgaria, which puts them up to 30 points. That's behind both Italy and the Byzantines at 35. So really, it's still Poland and Italy that I think are the big leaders at this point. Looking at our little chart, not that it's easy. France has 25, Germany has 10, and England has nothing. So it really does look like it's down to those couple countries. Germany's going to have to spend that wad, and they have to decide what they want to use it on. That's about it. 1441, things started off with the Turks showing up in Trebizond, and then the Byzantines wiped them out of there. Actually, the Germans then, after the Turks showed up, decided to start using their cash. It's getting so late in the game, they needed to do something with it. They picked on the easier of the two targets of Italy and Poland. They took on Poland. They grabbed 2 of the 5 home areas, or well, 3 of the 5 home attack areas, or 6 home attack areas that the Poles have. They took 2 out of Bohemia and 1 out of Silesia, Bohemia being the wealthier. They still have Poland and Pomerania really to fully neuter the Poles, and Bohemia to knock them off the map. So they're not far. They're going to do it. And the English jumped in, and although they got a leader dies heirless and lost Brittany, and Anjou's kind of separated now, they swept through the Sweden and Denmark in order to connect up their continental holdings. So they might be able to do some help in attacking the Poles as well. Now the Byzantines, after seeing this, they went and took Trebizond, but then they went forward and grabbed Bulgaria and Wallachia, and basically playing recognition of claim in Bulgaria and hoping for the same in Wallachia. They're hoping to get some victory points off of Poland's distress. It looks like the whole situation is probably going to put Italy in the lead. And Italy went in to start converting Burgundy. And they ended up ruining Lombardy's economy. They got a couple of things they got to rule there. Rome as well. Could be in danger of seeing another heresy happening. Anyhow, exciting stuff's happening. French had another leader dies heirless, still not the right kind. We're kind of calling them, I'm considering them to be sort of a really ineffective ruler of Spain who's calling itself the King of France until they get the right kind. It's just not worth withdrawing from the game at this point. They have 25 points. It's going to be really hard to make that bonus up by being on the board. And we've got the magnate who really hasn't done anything. Wait and see if he dies. Okay. 1446 in the beginning of the last turn. So the Germans finished Poland off in terms of their home areas. Poland's no longer on the board. They're still a valuable kingdom in terms of victory points, but with those key areas gone, they're probably not able to win. And something bad could happen, like a leader dies airless event, which could pretty much knock them out of being able to recover at all easily. It's going to be tough to come back in one turn. There's no question there. However, the Germans did spend almost all their money doing this. And now the harder nut, which was Italy, is wealthier and stronger, and there's just no way Germany can do this alone. Now the British or English helped with the Poles. They have cash, but they're not really in a position to do a lot to reach the Italian homeland. The country formerly known as France, which is now down to here and a little bit in Corsica, had another leader dies airless. They got one hell of a good leader, but still no ability to actually do anything until they get the right leader dies airless. That's just not going to happen, so they're pretty much trying to live off of, you know, whatever they get. They've got 3 areas now, and it's just going to keep going down because of that magnate. That's about it. So yeah, this is the last turn starting, and after this we count the points, and right now it looks like Italy is clearly in the lead. I would say the Byzantines are probably next. Germany and Poland are probably close.